This is Tim Bryce with my column entitled Branding the Moral Values of Conservatives. Last month I was asked to give an overview of my new seminar, Stand Up for Morality, at a local Republican club. This was a condensed version of my seminar where I discuss the properties of morality, describe how it applies to Americans, and have attendees work through problems. In case you're wondering, the seminar is politically and religiously neutral. It just happened that the Republicans invited me in, as do other groups. During the seminar, I asked the group to define some moral values that everyone could abide by, not just themselves. After much discussion, the group settled on the following: do unto others as you would have others do unto you, respect elders and those in superior position, adhere to the laws, rules, and regulations of the land, help aid and assist all persons less fortunate as I am able to, not wrong, cheat, or defraud another, respect the property of others, work faithfully, professionally, and industriously for those employing my services, and respect the dignity of the human spirit and treat people equitably. They could have defined more, but we were limited by time. These responses are actually quite typical, as many people in this country share these values. Knowing I was in the presence of a political group, I next asked them if these were the values the media used to portray the GOP, to which I received an emphatic no. Instead, they felt the media slandered them by portraying them as greedy, consumed more with the almighty dollar than people, insensitive to the needs of others, were environmentally reckless, possessed radical views on gun control, racist, warmongers, unreasonably resist change, stuck in the past, and inclined to create mayhem in order to overthrow the government. There is something to be said in their argument. This particular presentation happened to occur during the week of the bombings at the Boston Marathon on Monday, April 15th. It wasn't until Friday the 19th when the final suspect was apprehended. In the meantime, there was considerable speculation as to who the perpetrators were, particularly the media. To wit, Chris Matthews of MSNBC blamed the radical right for the bombings. Lawrence O'Donnell, also of MSNBC, claimed the National Rifle Association helped the bombers get away. And Stephanie Johnson, a public affairs representative with the U.S. Forest Service, blamed the Tea Party for the bombing. Other liberals also made accusations that conservatives were behind the April 15th bombings. They were all undoubtedly surprised to learn the suspects were born in Russia, of Chechen descent, and believed in Islam. Although they had immigrated to the United States as children and were permanent residents, only one of the brothers had become a naturalized citizen. In other words, the media was disappointed the attack was caused by outsiders as opposed to conservatives in this country. Since the 2012 national election, the media has been insisting the GOP needs to change in order to attract voters of all nationalities. To do so, they suggest conservatives change their views on such things as marriage, immigration, the national debt, entitlements, and so on. This would mean a dramatic change in their moral values as expressed earlier, something which is virtually difficult, if not impossible, for anyone to do. Knowing this, the media will likely continue to vilify the character of conservatives, thereby tainting their image to the public. I believe they now call this branding, or perhaps brainwashing would be more appropriate. Conservatives have only themselves to blame, as they do not take the media to task over how they are portrayed. Instead, they need to take the argument directly to the public and explain precisely what their moral values are, and by doing so, the public may come to the realization that conservative values are no different than their own. For example, helping their neighbors, an honest dollar for an honest day's work, the sanctity of life, that a person must be given the opportunity to try their hand at any business venture they are so inclined, that each person needs to lead an honorable and worthwhile life. Unveiling the true moral values of conservatives could work wonders in terms of demystifying what they truly represent, something the media already knows and is desperate to refute. Frankly, conservatives are not nearly as frightening as they are portrayed by the press. Most probably have the same values as you do. Friends, keep the faith. This is Tim Bryce in Palm Harbor, Florida. You can find me on the internet at timbryce.com.